Welcome back, everybody. It is round 10 now of this Reddit F1 League challenge that we've got for the Xbox division here. Only 3 races left to go in the season, and at the front of the grid, we've got QX Nemesis, who has a chance to clinch the championship today. Basically, as long as BoomTech does not outscore him by more than 5 points, he has it pretty much locked up. So basically, BoomTech needs to win and have Nemesis finish somewhere off the podium in order to just keep the championship hopes alive at this stage. I mean, a DNF for Nemesis would go a long way for BoomTech, but Nemesis has been, since Spa, pretty consistent. But we're jumping off to Italy and getting on our first flying lap. Another track where we're not going to really have to worry about tire strategy. It's a one-stopper all the way. And so you're probably going to see pretty much everybody try and qualify on those soft tires. You can pick up a bit of lap time at the tail end of the race if you do qualify through on the mediums and go late on the softs. Some of the testing I did before the race kind of indicated that pace early on the mediums and softs was fairly similar on heavy fuel loads, but on light fuel loads the softs were much faster at the end. So if we can make it through with some mediums, or if we're outside the top 10, we'll go that way, but otherwise we're going to be qualifying on the softs. But as we pitch it in to Lesmo 1, we made it through the first couple of chicanes, but not a lot of corners around this track. Only 11 turns, and 3 sets of the turns are all in chicanes. So if you were to take out the chicanes, you'd basically have like a 4-corner track. And here we are down the hill into Ascari. Looks like some yellow flags have just cleared up. We just took a little too much curb, and that's going to invalidate that lap time. We're going to go ahead and finish this lap out, though, just to see what kind of lap time we're doing right now, see how we stack up against the field and what kind of our relative pace is. We're early enough in the session that we're not really super crunched for time just yet. But here we are coming out of the final corner parabolic, gradually opening up that steering angle and shooting it down to the start-finish line. And we've got ourselves a 121.2, so a couple of seconds, about a second and a half off of the pole time at the 19.2 or 19.8, but we'll see what that actually goes to at the tail end of the session. But here we are starting a flying lap on those medium tires. We'll just try and put a banker in on these guys, not run so aggressively through the corners as NGP racers coming out of the pits there. We got a couple of cars just ahead. We'll see if they're going to be able to get out of the way, but braking all the way down from 215 miles an hour down to about 40 for that first chicane. A big, huge braking zone. This is, unlike last week at Japan, this is a track you can absolutely race at. There's plenty of overtaking opportunities, two DRS zones, plenty of heavy braking moments to really allow yourself a bit of a lunge. Really the only non-passing area, and even then sometimes you can, is Lesmo 1 and 2 here. It's kind of a short run from 1 to 2, so it's not really ideal to make a pass in. But ooh, back end steps out on us, and we go into the wall, and that's going to lose us a front wing. So now we've got to kind of let the next couple of cars go through and try and keep the car moving just so we don't get disqualified for being stopped on track. You can see that timer pop up as we have now 10 seconds to get moving. So try and get the car back on track and now limp our way around to the start-finish line. So no banker lap on these mediums, hey? That's definitely not going to happen, I guess. So we're just going to kind of fling our way around, gently drive our way back to the pit lane, get a new front wing on, new set of tires, and go out for what is essentially probably going to be our last chance at a flying lap, unless we're very quick in and out. Only about 5 minutes left in the session. You're going to lose about 4 minutes on a set of an out lap of flying, although we are on a flying lap. So flying lap plus the in lap will be about 3 minutes. It'll be close. We might be able to, if we really do a hustled in lap, get another lap in, but we'll have to see what kind of times we are turning. But through the first sector split, only a 10th and change down from BoomTech, so a pretty significant run through there. Voki gets out of the way. We're able to pitch it nicely into Lesmo 1, then get on the brakes for Lesmo 2, try and grab that curb, not let that back end step out on us this time, and now we're about 3/10 up on our 21.2, so we're going to go just into the 20s if we keep it up, but we do have a significant amount of time we can make up through Ascari if we nail it, but we were a little slow, not quite as fast, obviously. gained a little time on the old one by cutting Ascari just a little bit, but we'll see if we can't charge our way through Parabolica and get ourselves across the line. Open up that steering angle. Picking up a little bit of time. Looks like we're going to pick up about 2/10. So we might be just at the knife's edge of the 2020s. We are 21.024. And about 3 minutes left in. We'd really have to do a full speed in lap in order to get another lap in. So that wasn't going to happen. And unfortunately, we are right on the line at P10. So if we had gone just a half a tenth slower, we would have had tire choice and started P11. But instead, we are on these slightly worn softs, starting P10. But let's see if we can't make our way through the field and turn it into a decent result. We do have some race pace on some of these guys. We've traditionally made our way forward, but our traditional take a bunch of fuel out of the car. We can save fuel basically from the end of turn 3, Curva Grande, all the way to the exit of Lesmo 2. You can pretty much save fuel and be pretty even on lap time. So we're going to go ahead and under fuel, try and get some lightness in the car, but lights go out and we are off. Turn 1 is a mess in online lobbies. Usually we're just going to try and find our way gently through. We're going to be on the brakes nice and early. Lift, brakes. We get a little shove in the back. It's like Chuck's going around the outside of us. We've got house fan Nick just around. We're kind of limping, just waiting for the C to clear and not force anybody off track. We get good traction out of the chicane, and we're going to be able to go down the inside of Habs fan Nick. Voki is wide off the track there in turn 3. Something's happened to him, a podium sitter in the last race, but not quite enough drive. Habs fan Nick using some of that extra engine mode to hold out around the inside, and that's NGP Racer, I believe, in the Ferrari falling back from off track there. But we're still up in P10 at the moment. We've lost a couple of positions to guys behind. So that's not NGP Racer. That's somebody else that's off track. Racer 04 wide, rejoining. Slows up Habs fan Nick. We're going to go down the inside, turn up the engine, see if we can't catch some slipstream and make our way past into Ascari. Not enough. We're going to blend out of it. Just let that position hold. Save some electrical energy. We've got yellow flags ahead. Boom Tech is off in the wall. We're going around the outside. We're having to dodge Racer 04. VSC is out. But Boom Tech is out of the race, so that is going to give QX Nemesis the championship. Even if Nemesis sends it into the pit wall and ends his race right now, the championship is over. It looks like we've got some takers in the pit lane. I believe that's MJ Povey. Yep, so he must have picked up some damage on that opening lap as well. But we are up into P6 at the moment, thanks to some of the messes ahead of us.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
And we actually had a pretty good run on VSC compared to some of the guys in front of us. We closed up a fair bit of that gap, even though our delta was about 1 second. That's one thing we've been good at, I'd say, compared to some of the other drivers in the league this season, is running our virtual safety car delta quite well. We tend to actually gain some time by being right on the edge quite nicely. Belgium, I think we pretty much nailed it. Was it Belgium? I don't know. It might have been another track, but we pretty much hit the throttle and got right on the absolute zeros on the delta. But
some of this energy. Increase the ERS deployment.
P6, we've got a McLaren, both Red Bulls, and a Ferrari in front of us. I believe we should start to reel this group in. I think Marco Denelson out in front of the gap, as you can see, starting to open up. That means Gali Mooms is in front there. Then we've got a McLaren. We'll have to see who it is when we get inside the range. And then NGP Racer, who's been fairly quick, but I think we should be able to open up and close him down. We should be able to open up a gap to Racer 04 behind us, barring any mistakes. There's Marco Denelson setting the fastest lap of the race at the moment.
Will be available to use when you are within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone.
So we're 2.3 seconds back of that group right there, but jumping ahead, lap 8 now, and you can see they're still fighting away in front of us. This is Fast 6 driver and NGP Racer side by side through the chicane there. We run a little bit over it, and Fast 6 forces NGP out wide onto the grass. That's going to be a position we're going to be able to pick up right there. And now Fast 6 is not quite quick off the exit there either. So we're going to go ahead and try and save some electrical energy through this little sector. Not really an opportunity to overtake him here, but maybe we can conserve enough energy to really deploy it down the 2 big straights after Ascari. on the main straight, maybe even have a run into Ascari. So we'll go ahead and turn the engine back up, open up some of that DRS, and see if we can have a lunge down into Ascari. Seems to be running everybody's running a low downforce setup. I don't know what I'm saying, but it seems you're running an even lower downforce setup as we're not able to quite close it up. Have to lock up a little bit as he's slower entering Ascari than we expected, and that's going to allow NGP Racer right up to the back of us. But now we've got Slipstream. We're going to try and turn the engine up, see if we can have a dive down into Parabolica. He's going to go inside, go defensively. Let's see who has the better grip. We're a little later on the brakes, holding around the outside, getting on the throttle nice and early. And he managed to make that overtake, and he's going to go ahead and dive in the pits there as well. But unfortunately, we were just ahead at the DRS detection zone, so that's going to allow NGP Racer to really come up the inside. Let's see who can break it later. He is up the inside of us. We're just going to back it out, not force him off track, and let him have that position, as really the second part, turn 2, really tightens up, and it's very tough to get cars side by side through there without losing tons and tons of time. But we get a really good exit without even having to turn up the engine to the overtake mode. We're down the inside on the braking zone. Can we make this one happen? No, we're going to have to run off the inside. Chuck is unfortunately retired. That's going to put him off the inside of the track there. An interesting place to retire the car without driving it back. But that's going to cost us a little bit of time to NGP Racer, as we kind of had a brown pants moment as he just kind of appeared. And now we've got Habs fan Nick on the backside of us. Luckily for us, still inside DRS zone, but ooh, caution flags are out. We pick up a time penalty for that, a little bit of a cut on multiple warnings, and that's Marco Denelson has an issue. He doesn't appear to be out. He looks to be moving again, but he was stationary for a while there. I wonder, real-life mechanical failure, maybe wheel issues. I have to check with him after the race. I think that might have been what it is. But now, here we are, closing up to NGP Racer. We've got DRS this time. We've got the call for the pit lane. We're going to have plenty of pace to go past him. We're just going to stay defending the inside, not let him take the outside. Kind of give him a little squeeze to turn 2 and make him kind of back out of it. So that is going to allow us to get a clean run through Cover Grande there. Hold this right side, using the overtake just to try and counteract the slipstream that he's getting, because if you're close enough through the first chicane, you can really use that slipstream to kind of slingshot your way into the De La Roja chicane of turns 4 and 5. It's saving just a little bit more of that electrical energy. Like I said, this little mini sector is kind of the place to save it, because you definitely are going to want to use it everywhere else. And what we're going to try and do is use some of this overtake to keep him behind us, so that way we have a clean entry into the pit lane. We don't want to be fighting with somebody side by side out of Parabolica and get forced to the outside and have to lose a bunch of time diving into the pit lane if that's the case. So we're just going to go ahead and use some of that fuel. And then we're going to hold a kind of tighter line. In the Parabolica is also another area where I kind of traditionally saved some of my fuel each lap. But here we are into the pit lane. Worn tires. We got on the brakes pretty early, and NGP Racer pitting at the same time. So we're going to have our pit teams duke it out as we are nose to tail there. And luckily ghosted through Golly Moons, who was coming in for his pit stop.
Exit now. You'll be racing
And we managed to have a similar pit time, 2.5 seconds. It looks similar to what NGP Racer had. So now we're coming out behind the group that started on the medium tires there. Let's see if we can get up to speed before that Toro Rosso comes out. Looks like we're going to be just out of pit lanes in time. And onto the brakes into turn 1. We're going to kind of be a little slow, be a little cheeky, maybe back NGP Racer up to that group behind us a little bit, while kind of maintaining the ability for him to not get a good run on us. But that group is still a little bit back, but so we are still scrapping. We're still battling from before a pit stop to after a pit stop still with NGP Racer. So he's all over our back bumper. We're showing very similar paces, but we should both be able to go to the end of the race now on these medium tires. Got to do a little bit more fuel conservation, so we aren't going to be able to run full pelt, but we've got some areas where we can save fuel and not worry about losing lap time. But at this point, he's got a great run out of Lesmo 2. Plenty of DRS, so we're going to let him by and just break into the Ascari chicane, see if we can stay close enough to fight back down the main straight here. And here we go, exiting Parabolica nicely in the slipstream. Should be able to make up this gap in, but we are having to conserve some fuel, so we're just going to go ahead and stay behind him for this lap. Use this opportunity since we are low on both fuel and electrical energy. I don't typically like to try and save both of them at the same time, so we're going to go ahead and use that DRS to allow us to save them both and just kind of hold station behind NGP. It was kind of borderline distance-wise, but now we've got Racer 04 climbing up the back of us, so we're going to have to either clear NGP Racer and open the gap or hope that NGP's got some pace in those tires, because Racer 04 is going to be in DRS of us here. So the DRS is open for us as we are coming downhill. There's yellow flags ahead, cars sideways. We're getting on the brakes, got to try and find a way through. And ooh, side by side with Racer 04, catch a little contact from him, and somehow we're going to pick up a penalty for that? That's not a good penalty for us to have picked up, unfortunately. And now with the VSC out, here's time for us to ply our trade again. You see how much slower everybody's going? We're losing 2 seconds on the delta time, but we're still closing up the cars in front of us. So we're going to be able to essentially be right on the back end of them when that VSC comes in. We're going to...
VSC ending, we're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green
nearly
flags.
able to go full pelt, just keeping it at about a second, but DRS now wide open. AWD Turbo Guy, the big loser out on that VSC because he wasn't able to get up to throttle as early as we are. And now my teammate, he's going to go ahead. He's already lost the 2 positions. He's going to let us through. He's still out on the mediums he started on, so he's running an alternate strategy. Makes more sense, I'd say, for him to just kind of continue to run his strategy and see what happens. His big contenders, Onslaught, one of his main rivals, as far as lap time goes, has done a lot of damage as NGP's bouncing over. Racer 04 off the inside there, bouncing over the curbs. We're going to go ahead and take that position off of him as we were setting up to have to avoid his rejoin. A little slow through Lesmo 1, and ooh, somebody's off behind us. Ooh, it looks like our teammate. That's that tan dot, unfortunately, through Lesmo 1. So that's yellow flags behind. Still on lap 13 of 27, so about 14 laps left to go in this race. And we do have some fuel saving to do, but otherwise, we're sitting P6 at the moment. We should have, if we can clear the DRS zone, we should have pace in hand over Racer 04 to eventually drop him once we get out of that slipstream range. So now it's just going to be a matter of driving consistently, and hopefully we'll be able to turn in a good result. It's been a while since we've had a good result, so could use the boost of points.
Switching to a lower fuel mix, we may not finish on the current settings.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm quite aware we may not finish on the current settings. I appreciate that. A little bit of rear locking into that first turn. We run a very front-heavy brake bias on this track. Obviously, very heavy braking zone. All the weight is thrown particularly forward, but for some reason, normally we wouldn't need it as far forward for the De La Roja chicane coming up here, but for some reason, the rear tires just love to get very slidey through this chicane. They lock up a lot. Even if they don't lock up, the back end just likes to kind of loosen on you. So we're going to have to see if we can match the pace of NGP Racer. I think at this point we're just running not enough fuel to really be too aggressive on it. And we do have the blue dot of Marco Denelson closing this gap up as well. He's on some faster tires after his early issue. Could be somebody who would be challenging for the race win, or at least a podium if he didn't have that mechanical failure as it was. But having to use some electrical energy as that slipstream is just very powerful. And that allows Racer 04 to kind of close up. We're going to probably be in trouble when it comes to this DRS zone. We're going to try and fight it back, turn up the engine just a little bit, see if we can kind of just barely time it.
15.4 seconds.
So he's quite going to pull up alongside. He's going to get a little clue. We're a little later on the brakes, though, so we're going to give him space on the inside turn 1, and he gives us no space on turn 2. Just rams into us, shoves us off the inside of the track. So that is unfortunate for us to lose that position out there, and that's also going to cost us time with the way we're pushed off the track there. It gave him plenty of space into turn 1 and received none in turn 2 there. I would hazard a guess that that is probably because he's driving with the racing line on. I've noticed people that race with racing line typically not as good in wheel-to-wheel battle, just because they don't know how to leave space. But here we are, still staying in the DRS zone there. We had to use some fuel to keep Marco behind us, but I think at this stage we'll kind of let him through because he is much quicker. He's not quite close enough to attack us here, so, and we'll have DRS down the next straight. So we'll try and find, if he has a significant advantage into one of the corners, we won't fight him per se. I won't necessarily let him through cleanly or like for free, but I will not fight it. I won't go defensive. I'll let him have the inside line into a braking zone if he is closing up on me pretty aggressively. But right now, our sights are set ahead on Racer 04. You see, we went from setting our best lap on lap 15 to losing almost 9/10 as he just cuts both corners. So, and ooh, back end really steps out on us there. So we're going to go ahead and stay to the outside through Curva Grande here. Going to let Marco Nelson, who's got the run through, we're going to grab a little bit of slipstream off of him. Not going to try and battle him back, even though he's going defensive here, but we should be able to stay pretty close and allow us to use his DRS to catch up with Racer 04 again. But Gallimoom's now out of the session, involved in that big crash with Onslaught on lap 12 that we had to do some avoiding action on, so it appears that that is terminal for him. But see if we can't close up to this crew ahead of us, get that P6, maybe even a P5 back off of Racer 04. But every lap I essentially use that last set of banners as a moment to turn the engine down to the lean mix. And then once the traction was hooked up, because you want to get on the power early through Curva Grande, or I mean Parabolica rather, but if you get on it too quickly, you are going to spin up the rear tires as there's some battling going on ahead of us as now Marco Nelson goes past Racer 04 and into P5. And that's going to allow us to close right up on Racer. A little bit more clean on the power this time through. So we should be able to put ourselves in a good spot to fight him. Maybe have a look down on the inside, but I'm going to blend out of it just with the way he has not really given us space anywhere on this track in wheel-to-wheel battle. We're just going to kind of let him. We're not going to go ahead and try and have a lunge at him. We will really only be able to take the position if we're particularly clear of him. But here we are. Good run out of Lesmo 2. Should have good DRS down this back straight, but Racer's got DRS off of Marco Nelson. So here we are closing it up. This time we should have clear run through. So we're going to get on the brakes. A little bit of an overcut of the inside because we were trying to make sure that Racer didn't turn in on us, but managed to get that position off. And now we're going to use as much energy as we can to try and open that gap to a second. But here we are jumping ahead now. Lap 19. Habs fan Nick behind. Racer 04 has fallen back through the field a bit. Marco Nelson just ahead. And oh, we missed our braking point. Another instance of us just a momentary lapse with the brake marker missing from that lap 12 incident. And that is going to cost us time. And then hot tires from the lockups and the gravel. On the throttle, too much coming out of Ascari after letting the group through. And that's into the wall. Another damaged wing. And a very solid running position just absolutely thrown away.
They're on old mediums. Their tires are 5 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:24.2. They have a time penalty of 3.0.
So now we have to come in. We're kind of aggressively and panickingly trying to tell our team what to do. Get the right tires fitted. Make sure they know I'm coming in this lap. The wing is definitely damaged enough. I don't have to worry about switching it off of auto and onto, yes, change wing. And there they are set with the wing, but we are going to go pretty far back of the field because of this, plus the 5-second penalty that we have to serve from that impact from Racer 04 in the yellow flags, where he just kind of pulled up alongside of us and bashed into us as we tried to clear it. But there we are. Set us down, let us go. We lose a 13-second pit stop, and we're going to spend a good 35 seconds in the pit lane. So we are all the way back now.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
And we are the last car running, and we just got put a lap down by QX Nemesis there. And unfortunately, pit stops are not good for your fuel consumption either, because you're sitting there idling the car, essentially. But we've managed to jump ahead, lap 23 now. We've saved fuel back up into the green zone, and we are catching Onslaught, who's on some old hard tires. The old cork in the bottle from before, but we're going to go ahead and make sure we get this one done quite quickly on him. He's got DRS off of the lead car in front and from the lap traffic, but we should have plenty of pace coming off of Parabolica to get by him. And now we've got our eyes forward to our teammate, AWD Turbo Guy.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
Well, unfortunately, just out of the window of being able to use that that lead lap car for DRS, but now we've got a 7-second gap to try and close up to our teammate, who is also on some fresher softs. So it would appear he had an issue that made him pit again as well. Well, actually, no, he started on the mediums, didn't he? So if he was clean, if he didn't get any wing damage, he should be on that reversed strategy as well, essentially. You see, still turning faster and faster times, but only 2 laps now left to go, because we are not going to be able to do our last lap because of the being a lap down.
Okay, we need some energy harvesting. Reduce ERS deployment.
To try and close the gap up to our teammate. We do have a 3-second track limits penalty. So we will see what our teammate has if we are able to close in, if we are able to jump him for P11. So 6.8 at the last marker there. And now we're starting to go a little bit slower, but only a 1/10 slower that time. We are trying to save a little bit of that electrical energy. We are pretty much borderline right on the point of running out of fuel and running out of electrical energy at this stage of the race.
Our data shows the tyres are okay right now. We anticipate good levels of grip for the next few laps at least.
But a good run through Sector 2 actually puts us up on our best lap time now. So we are about 100, almost 200ths up on our previous best. So we'll see if we can do the same. Now, unfortunately, with QX Nemesis being a lead lap car, Marco Denelson retired from the session. I wonder what happened to him, because he definitely was charging his way back through the field. But like I said, we do get the DRS off of him, but we don't get the slipstream because he's ghosted. We go 9 thousandths faster than our previous best lap.
Some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap.
And so this is the last lap for QX Nemesis, the last lap for us, and we'll see if we can't close up. So we're just going to kind of drive through the ghosted car, although that is a bit distracting, even though it doesn't affect your line. And I would assume that since he is the race leader at the moment, he's probably going to be a little bit quicker, but 2/10 up on our previous best lap, only 5.7 back of our teammate now. So we are getting very close to being within that 5-second mark, which we may be able to jump, because I plan on appealing the 5-second penalty from Racer 04 running into me under the yellow flags there in that on lap 12 incident.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
And so again, making sure that we hit our braking point, not having a repeat of lap 19. And Can we get close enough to our teammate to try and grab it? He's up into P10 now because of Marco Dennelson's retirement, so that is 4 points at the moment. I'll have to, and unfortunately since I'm a lap down, I don't think it's going to tell me what my gap is to my teammate crossing the line here. He's 5.2, it did show us. Did show me the gap. So 5.2, depend on the penalties now what the change in time is. But you can see QX Nemesis finishing off the championship with a win. There's still 2 races left to go. There are still plenty of spots left up for grabs other than first place. So we are headed off to the USA next. So we'll get to have a home race. And then it'll be Interlagos after that in Brazil. So we will see what the penalties were around the track and see what kind of, if there's an opportunity for a position to be made up for us here. Because it's been a rough couple of weeks. As I was talking about last race, we were stripped of our podium in Spa because of somebody moving up into P3. And so we've actually lost more points over the last 4 races than we've gained. But it would appear that we're only a 3-second differential. So that should put us about 2.2 seconds back of AWD Turbo Guy before appealing that 5-second penalty. So I will have to check and just see what's going on. But that's going to be it for today's race. We are going to head off to the USA next, get some practice in on that. And head to the last 2 races of the season. But I will see you all next time, guys. Y'all take it easy, and peace.